Coming up, our first look at the DotPad X, and is Soundscape now on Android?
You're listening to Double Tap, your daily accessible technology show. Now, here's your hosts, Stephen Scott and Shaun Preece.
Wait, what do you mean no? What do you keep saying no for?
No, you can't do that, Stephen. You've given away the big reveal there, right in the first 2 seconds of the show. This is amazing breaking news, and there you go.
It is.
Breaking news. Breaking
Thank you.
news.
Give it the reverence
Breaking
it
news.
deserves. Go.
I just did. Press
I
the
know,
button.
you've ruined it.
You know, the great thing, people ask me all the time, they're like, how do you edit the show on? How do you put this show together in post when you sit down and you pour through the episode to find the best nuggets to serve up to us double
Best
tappers?
take.
Yeah. This is it. There's no edit here. Are you kidding me? Do you think this is edited?
This is the only take. No, this is great news, isn't it? I mean, let's just jump straight into it. I think this is fantastic. I mean, people have been screaming, and I'm going to use that word, screaming for Soundscape on Android for the longest time, since its initial release. Hooray! We finally got there, people.
And I will say, all thanks to, wait for it, the Scottish. Yes, the Scottish people.
No, use the proper name.
The Scottish people.
Well done. God bless you, the Scottish Tech Army.
Scottish brought a lot of things to the world, and now Soundscape
here we
can be
go.
added to that list on Android as well.
Every time you talk to a Scottish person, is that the correct term?
Yes. What would you call them?
Scotch.
How
people.
dare you? That's a drink, and we all know who knows all about that.
Mr. F.
God bless you, Mr. F. Yes, every time you talk to someone, they always say, this Scottish people invented the TV. Telephone, is that right?
Pretty much everything you can ever think of has been invented by a Scottish person. And do you know why? Because it's cold here, and there's nothing else to do except sit inside and tinker with things. And so,
well, thank God.
Things were invented. Yes, the Scottish Tech Army is the organisation, which we're going to find out a little bit more about later. You probably remember, if you're a long-time listener to this show, a long, weary listener to this show, that you will have heard the Scottish Tech Army. Kirsty McIntosh was on with us a while back when Soundscape was first made available to the public after Microsoft. Essentially, I wouldn't even say shelved the project, because they opened it up. They said, look, we're not going to continue this. We're sunsetting it, I think was the word that was used, which I never
so
really
nice.
understood what that means. But, okay, whatever. Sounds like LA speak to me for shutting down. And, then what happened was the Scottish Tech Army got involved. They were a group of people putting together a bunch of volunteer coders and programmers who actually, brought this back to life. Now, of course, since then, we've had other versions. NCBI in Ireland has done an amazing job doing this as well with Soundscape Community. And there's been a version which has been around for a while as well called Voice Vista, all based on that code that Microsoft gave away in the end, that was the original Soundscape. But yes, this new update is pretty cool because it comes now for the first time. I don't think anyone has developed an Android version of this.
Well, I was trying to think, because it's been around. It's been on our landscape for so long. You think, is it really not been on Android? But no, I don't think so. This is the first time we've got it. And it is one of those staples. It's one of those tools I use every single day. I must admit, I did have a bit of a cleanup the other day because I had 2 Soundscapes. I got Voice Vista, Blind Square. I will say that Blind Square didn't quite make it through to judges' houses.
Are you joking?
Used it. Oh, sound effects are back. Oh,
yeah,
glorious.
I found them. It's always it's in the last place you look. I guarantee you, it is always in the last place you look.
Oh, joy. Yeah, so
that threw you for a second, didn't it? That threw you entirely.
I'm so happy I got rid of Blind Square just because I haven't used it in the longest time. Still a great app, by the way, and still regularly updated. But it's just, okay, I've got too many now. I need to clean up. But Soundscape or Voice Vista, still there.
If ever I'm getting a new phone, that's usually the time I think, okay, this is the moment I'm going to refresh it all. I'm going to do it. And I never do. I just end up migrating everything over and just leaving it. And sometimes I'll move apps around into folders and stuff, but I tend not to. I don't know. I try to keep everything in one page. But then you
let's
start...
not go down this route.
I know, but then you end up, you'll download an app and it just leaks onto the second page and then just lives there. And I've got to the stage that I've put so many things in folders, I can't remember what folders anything is anymore. And so I use Spotlight to find everything.
Oh, no, I never use Spotlight. Ever.
That's the only way I find an app.
That's a throwback to your Mac usage, I suppose.
Well, if you use a keyboard, because if you use a keyboard, you can do Command Space and it brings up, the search box, which is Spotlight on the Mac. And you can, search for an app and just hit return and go. It's like Windows if it worked. Hang on. What is going on with Windows, or at least the start menu in NVDA? I have to restart the start menu like 3 times just to get something to open up. I know. I look, I understand. I know it was a problem for you. And I know if it's a problem for you, that means that I don't care about it. But I will care about it at some point.
Yes, it is still doing it. I have installed, what was it? Was it the Windows Essentials add-on, which was supposedly to get rid of it? It's still an issue. I don't know if it came back with another Windows, the Tuesday updates.
Boo!
But, yep, you hit that Windows key, bring up the start menu, start typing away. It says no new edit field, no new table, no new... what?
Yeah, but I was doing was I was just typing in, thinking it must just be focused and it's not reading it. So, that was my thinking. So I would just type out for Outlook, hit enter, nothing. And then I'd do it again and then do it again. But third time lucky, I'd, get finally on a text field. I could type it in and I'd hear Outlook. Oh, hallelujah.
It's an issue, Stephen Scott.
It's
a terrible issue. And I'll tell you what's worse than that. You'll carry on typing. It's usually WhatsApp I'm starting up. So WHAT, no new table, no next table. And you hit enter anyway. And then NVDA will not speak. It goes completely silent.
I know.
And you go, well, what's happening? So then you got to open in the start menu again, type NVDA to restart it, or do NVDA QR. But just type NVDA to restart it. I mean, eventually it will come back, but you're just waiting around. It's not good. I don't think this is an NVDA issue. I think this is a Windows issue because on my other laptop, I am running the insider build of Windows, and this isn't a problem.
Oh, how do I get that?
You go to, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you how to get on the insider track, just in case, Steve. I'm not dealing with any more issues from you. Okay?
3 a.m. calls. This doesn't work either. This is rubbish. How do I get back? I hate everything. And I must admit, when it comes to Windows, I just, I try not to reset anymore. Because you were saying this the other day about resetting the Windows machine. I used to do this all the time. I used to spend hours. I don't know. It was almost like an obsession. Right, I'm going to refresh the computer. I've got my list of applications I'm going to put on. I've got all my CDs and my floppy disks all sitting here ready to install the software on that I need. And, I would do this on like almost a monthly basis. Now...
You had to.
I don't know if you had to. I think we did that. I remember that first thing we always did, which was defrag the computer. To this day, have no idea what a defrag did. But everyone told you to do it.
It's in there right now. If you hit the properties on a drive in this PC or this computer, if you go to your C drive, hit Alt-Enter, and then Control-Tab, you'll find Tools, and there's Optimize, which is the defragger. I used to sit there back in the seeing days with Norton defrag and watch the little green blocks and red blocks move around. It was ridiculous.
I know.
Oh, God. When I worked in the IT department, I had to go around to everyone's computer and do that. And I would just sit. It was such a waste of time. But, God. It was great.
Well, look, let's get into some stories because there's some stuff going on. We are getting the first look at the new DotPad X. A new video has just been released from the Dot Company showing off the new DotPad. Let's hear Dave Williams, who narrates the video.
Meet DotPad X, the most portable display for touch readers to access multi-line braille and tactile graphics. Measuring 27 by 23 centimetres, 11 by 9 inches, and weighing just 1.2 kilograms, around 2.6 pounds, DotPad X is small and light enough to be easily carried in a backpack or school bag, keeping DotPad in reach all day long. Featuring a smooth plastic body and Dot's soft cell protector, DotPad not only feels great under your fingers, but has been designed to be durable for many years to come. The top surface features a spacious 300-cell tactile graphics display. Below this are 6 easy-to-press navigation buttons and a 20-cell braille reading line. These dual displays deliver simultaneous access to accurate braille characters and detailed tactile graphics. Towards the right side, you'll find a braille letter P showing where to connect power. Turn on by sliding the switch away from you. DotPad greets you with the Dot logo and the last 4 characters of the DotPad Bluetooth name, ready to connect with your smartphone, tablet or laptop. You can check the battery level by pressing and holding the left and right arrow keys. 5 vibrations means the battery's charged, and DotPad is ready to work with popular screen readers like VoiceOver, NVDA and JAWS. If you prefer a cable connection, on the left side you'll find a braille letter D showing the position of the data port. You can plug DotPad X in to your laptop via USB. With DotPad X, you can explore tactile maps and floor plans, improving spatial awareness and orientation. Information that couldn't be conveyed through sound alone can now be understood through your fingertips. Get your hands on DotPad X, the most portable tactile display for touch readers to access multi-line braille and graphics. Find out more at dotincorp.com.
So there you go. That is the new DotPad. I've got to say, a very moving video there, I have to say.
Just say, Dave Williams, what a star. Did he just make that braille display sexy?
I didn't want to say that. I have to say, it was on my mind, but I didn't want to say it.
With its soft body.
It's soft plastic body, I think it's going to live with me for a while. I kind of want to get hands on with it as well now you've mentioned it, Dave.
Hello, Dave.
Yeah, that's pretty nice sounding. Look, I mean, I love this device idea because it's I love the fact that it's got the braille cells, the braille line of cells. So you've got your typical braille display, your traditional braille display, but this secondary display as well, which can act as multi-line or tactile graphic. And that is something which I must admit I didn't realize about it. I think the first edition didn't have that capability. And also at that time, the screen readers weren't building in the functionality to make it work. I think JAWS might be the first to bring in multi-line display support. And that's going to be seen in, I think, the next edition that's coming out. So that'll be interesting for people, especially those who want to go down this road with the Dot or perhaps the Monarch from Humanware. I mean, look, let's be honest about it. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time talking about this. We did talk to Dave Williams, and you can go back and listen to that conversation in our YouTube feed or in our podcast feed, and you can listen to Dave talk about the DotPad and the DotPad X in particular that is coming out soon. This video, though, just giving a bit of an insight into how and how it's going to feel and how it's going to work, in particular, how it's going to feel.
It's changing, isn't it? The braille, I'm going to use the word landscape again. The braille landscape is changing. This tactile graphics thing is definitely getting some momentum behind it.
Yeah.
Of course, we could talk about pricing and availability and accessibility from a financial point of view, but still, there is definitely a desire for tactile graphics.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, very interesting. And of course, and we'll link to this in the show notes, but if you're interested in this device, if in any way at all, then there is a list of distributors for your country available on the dotincorp.com website. We'll put that list on our show notes. We can tell you if you're in Canada, for example, it will be the CNIB who you will want to contact about the DotPad X. And if you're in the States, there are a range of different providers. Some of them provide some Dot products, not others. So best to check out the list and contact those providers. In the UK, VisionAid Technologies is listed as the company that you want to contact. A wonderful company, by the way, if you're looking for a product and you want unbiased info. And you want to know about a range of products. And I'm always talking about this, right? This unbiased approach to selling assistive tech. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Jason is the guy I've spoken to. I don't know how many times. He's a great guy. We're going to get him back on soon, actually, to talk about some of the low vision tech that we never really talk about very much. But I know a lot of people are interested in, so we're going to get him on to talk about that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're going to talk about magnifying glass for an hour, yeah. No, things have moved on a bit, Shaun, things have moved on.
Have they? What's new in low vision tech?
Why are you asking me? I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Well done. We'll get someone on who does.
Yeah, that's usually how it works. Right, up next, I want to talk about Dropbox. Did you know that Dropbox is, and they're using this word as well, sunsetting their password manager? Are you shocked?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
I thought you'd fallen asleep.
I was waiting. I thought we were going to the break. That's what I just.
Well, you
Yes.
thought that was it, did you?
I thought that was it. No, I did read this story. And no, you know what? I'm not that shocked. I'm kind of surprised because actually it worked really well.
I know you were a fan. You liked it.
I was, but I say I was a fan when it first released. Was that 5 years ago or something now?
Yeah, 2020 it came out.
3 or 5 years. I thought it was great, but I haven't used it. I've gone back to using Keychain on my iPhone, which just works so well. You know, and with the extension on Windows, it's sort of passable. You can use it. So yeah, I just ended up sort of moving away from it for no other reason that something else took its place. And of course, you got 1Password and Dashlane. You got so many other ones out there. Not to mention all the browser password managers built into Edge and Google, which are great as well. So I kind of understand why this is gone.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Well, on August 28th, the app will become view-only in both the mobile app and browser extensions, so you won't be able to add any new passwords at that time. And the autofill feature will also stop working, so that's on August 28th. And then on September 11th, the Dropbox Password mobile app will stop working entirely, but password information will remain available through the dedicated browser extension. Although I was reading about this, apparently there is a fantastic tool which they've got built in, which makes perfect sense, that you can take all the passwords and you can bring them out to, I think, is it a CSV file perhaps? You can bring that out to, and you can, it seems a bit old-fashioned to me, but yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, can I just say, a non-encrypted CSV file, which just, all your passwords in a text file, basically.
But can't you import that into 1Password?
Yes, you can. Yeah, you should be able to import that into another password manager, not just 1Password, but others as well should have the import feature. It's just, I don't know, it just makes me nervous. A big text file with the list of your entire passwords, which isn't encrypted or anything. Yeah, it's fine. Just make sure you get rid of it.
You say that, but how many of us have got an email somewhere with, password for this account as the subject header, or, a text file which is containing a password because you've thought, how else am I going to remember this? It's especially those ones that Apple creates on the keychain. If it says use strong password, you think, okay,
never do.
I can't. There's no way I'll remember that. And I guarantee you there'll be some website on a computer, especially if you're using the PC. I know that you can get the iCloud keychain via it. I haven't really gone down that road yet. Now, I'm going to have to.
It's not a great experience on
Windows. No, it's never been a great experience because you had to, from memory, you had to go in. Every time you wanted a password, you had to get a 6-digit character from your phone or an Apple device connected to the account.
A notification pops up on Windows now. So when you want to fill in a password, a notification pops up with a verification code. You got to go to that, get the code, enter it into the extension back in your web page.
Yes.
And then it will carry on, which is fine, except accessibility-wise, it's not great. I need to switch from NVDA to narrator in order to read the code. And then it's all, the iCloud keychain system on Windows, as I've mentioned before, accessibility-wise, is a train wreck. It's not
that is really, really weird, isn't it, when you think about it?
It is.
Considering Apple and... Yeah, that is really, really strange. Okay, well, look, interesting stuff. And, we're interested to know what people are using out there for their passwords. I do hear 1Password mentioned a lot. Not one I've tried. I'm often a little bit wary of third parties, but just, because we've seen before either data leaks or just they close down. I mean, like this one, just closes down.
1Password does have a bit of a reputation for being, I don't think they've had a data breach yet.
Hooray!
Well, that's
well
very
done.
cool.
Well done, guys.
And apparently it's very accessible, or at least usable. It's fine, I think.
Okay, all right, it's fine. It'll do.
There's
fine.
my review. It's fine.
Thanks for that, Shaun. All right, let's get to some emails.
Email. We get email. We get your email every day.
Every day.
Here's your mail today.
Right, let's get into the emails then. Plenty of them to get through.
Just
You were ooshing there, sorry. Do you want to oosh again?
But no, just recognise the oosh. Don't just carry on like it didn't happen.
Okay, I hear you. I was going to say I see you, but that would be a lie. Right, let's get into the emails. Aaron's up first.
Hi, gents. On the episode titled, Will the Future of AI Leave Accessibility Behind? There was discussion of company commitment to accessibility. In my mind, and as a digital accessibility analyst, companies can talk about accessibility all they want, from marketing to pretty social media posts. However, the focus and buy-in have to be from the top down throughout the entire company. We have to understand that progress and improvement has been made in the arena of digital accessibility. Apple has been a big part of this train for a while now. However, if Apple goes away, who will pick up the ball? I'd say Google would be picking up the ball here. Within a huge company such as Google, accessibility is a small piece of a monolithic cruise ship, if you will. The continuous training, constant talks with various departments about accessibility and testing products, services, documentation, marketing material, etc. can be a huge task for any accessibility department. That's why it's so important I tell people all the time, welcome to humanity. Disability will find you. It's only a matter of when. So, why not build for your future self and continue to build existing technology and apps for the people using them today? As small as our market share is, we still have money that can and will be spent. If your company isn't accessible, we'll find one that is. Thus, market share will move and shift. So, why shoot yourself in the foot by not considering and getting disabled people involved in all aspects of your company? Now, we need to have the right degrees, experience, skills, etc., but employ people who will make the company and product services even better. There are some very interesting times ahead for sure. I, for one, am ready for the ride. Whether it be a bumpy camel ride or a smooth bullet train ride, bring it on and let me in to help. Thanks, Aaron Linson.
Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it. I hear you. I see you, etc.
I'm sensing a but from Stephen Scott.
I think it all starts with employment, right? It all starts with employment, because if you don't have people in the organization who are disabled, how can you ever imagine you're going to build a world for people with disabilities at the heart of it? You're never going to think about it, because we know this. It's just, this has been going on for so long. This is nothing new. This is nothing unusual. We keep talking about this idea of progress like it's just around the corner. It's just around the corner. But we're going to get there one day. You know, the sighted people are just going to wake up one day and go, oh, let's make everything accessible. Because absolutely that's what's happened every single time since the dawn of time. Oh, wait, no, it hasn't.
I was going to disagree with you, but I think it's almost the chicken and the egg. I think it's more that accessibility still is, as Aaron said there, it's a tiny cog in the machine, right? And I feel like until accessibility, whatever feature, functionality, hardware is being thought about, and they have to go through, okay, does this work with this hardware? Does this work with this software? You know, all those checks that they need to do for the mainstream, until accessibility is part of that. Okay, is this accessible before it gets any further through the development cycle? Is this accessible? I don't think we're anywhere near. I think accessibility departments, it's great that we have them finally. I still remember the time of ringing companies and they're not knowing what accessibility was. It's great that we have accessibility teams who do an amazing job, but I do think a lot of the time they're almost forgotten about, and it's left for them to pick up the pieces after the fact. And I think until they're part of the development cycle, it's not going to happen. But how do we get there? And I think you're right as well, because if there's disabled people in the workplace, then it gets thought about, because, oh yeah, I know, John, who's a blind guy, he's a great guy. Let's work it for him as well. Until people have experience of people with disabilities as real people and not just a concept, I think accessibility is still going to be thought like that.
Yeah.
So I think they go hand in hand.
Thanks for the email, Aaron. Let's hear from Chris.
It's Chris again from New York. So I'm in the process of replacing the switches on my hot-swappable keyboard, and I'm also looking into replacing the keycaps. And it got me thinking, why don't we have hot-swappable switches on Perkins-style Braille keyboards or Braille displays? I think it would be very cool to offer different kinds of switches in a Braille keyboard. Some of us might like more linear feel. Others, like myself, like more of a clicky or analog or tactile feel. So I'm just thinking, I wish that was a possibility that, it would be easy just to lift the keys off of a brailler and just remove the switches and then put whatever types you would like in them. And if it would work with regular keyboard switches, that would be fantastic. So that's just my thoughts of the day. Thank you very much for listening to my message. Have a great rest of your day. I love your show.
Oh, thank you for that.
Thank you. That was so polite. Thank you. Stephen, I can sense your excitement from here.
Yeah, I must admit, I do like this idea. I kind of like the idea of hot-swappable braille keycaps, switches.
Key switches.
Things. I
So
must
you
admit,
could have
I haven't really
Yes.
gone down this road with mechanical keyboards. The mechanical one I bought most recently, which was, I guess, my first foray into the really kind of, maybe not high end, but certainly the higher end when it came to this, was Keychron. I bought a Keychron keyboard, and that's one where you can pretty much replace the entire thing, right? You could change the switches, you can change the keycaps. I'm not into all that, to be honest. I just want a nice clicky tactile experience, not one that's going to keep the neighbors awake, but one
so
that's
shallow.
well, I want a nice keyboard.
So superficial,
I think I want my old IBM keyboard from back in the day, and that's what I'm waiting for. That's the one I
Look
want.
in the skip. I'm sure you'll find some.
Do you know? I bet if someone has one of those lying around, with I remember the old PS2 connectors you had to use, the little
Yes.
round
Used to be
connectors
on a
with the
curly
pins.
wire as well. Curly cable.
Oh, I love a curly cable. Don't you love a curly
who doesn't
cable?
love a curly cable? Oh! All right, calm down.
I
now.
love a curly cable. And it's so funny. I hear people talk about them like it's some new idea. It's like, hang on, guys. I've been through this already, I've actually, my headphones have got a curly cable.
All right. Well done. Okay,
Thanks for mentioning
Perkins
that.
keys, though, with switchable. Is there a reason for that other than, well, I suppose so. You do type a lot on it if you want the
yeah.
perfect feel.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it with
Yeah.
repairs and all the rest of it. I mean, look at the framework idea that Adi Kushner had for the Optima, where you can replace elements of the device so that you don't have a situation where you have to just, throw the whole thing out in 5 years and buy a new one.
Do you know what? It's actually a genius idea. Well done. Yeah,
I want
it is.
5%.
Why? You didn't come up with it. You just hit play.
All right, I'll take, well, okay, okay, let me finish.
Oh.
Chris gets 5% as well.
Okay. Oh, well done. I'll take 10.
Not my 5, but he'll get his own 5.
Well done, Chris. That's a good idea.
Yeah, love
I
it.
think.
Listen, if you want to get in touch with the show, here's how.
Get in touch with Double Tap. Email feedback at doubletaponair.com. Leave us a voicemail at 1-877-803-4567. And now you can send an audio or video message to us on WhatsApp. That number is 1-613-481-0144.
Now, we've talked a lot in the past about Soundscape and some big news for Android lovers and Android users. Even people who don't love Android will get the joy of this. That is Soundscape coming to the platform, which is huge news. Kirsty McIntosh is here from the Scottish Tech Army. I knew the Scottish Tech Army might have something to do with this. It's the only army I'm interested in hearing about these days. Kirsty, welcome back to Double Tap.
Thank you very much. It's fantastic to be back and with such great news as well.
It is. So obviously Soundscape's been around for a little while. Tell us about your journey to Android in this.
Sure. Well, just a quick update on the background to this. Soundscape obviously was originally a research opportunity for Microsoft, and their research program was closing down, and the service was going to be switched off. And we found out about it, but we also found out that Microsoft had made all of that amazing code available under an open source license. So we grabbed a hold of it. We gave it to a team from the consultancy PwC, a volunteer team who took a day to have a look at whether or not it would be possible to reproduce the app for the benefit of the community. And they proved that we could. And then we had an extraordinary set of independent volunteers who got together, and over the course of 4 months, we built the iOS version and launched it just before the original service was switched off. So that was August 2023. And since then, we've had about 14,000 downloads of the iOS app. Actually, it's still functioning. But there's never been an Android version. There was never originally an Android version. And a fabulously enthusiastic and hardworking team of volunteers have very, very quietly been working away in the background building Soundscape for Android. And last week we released it into the Play Store for live beta testing. So this is available for people to download and have a go at and give us some feedback and tell us what needs to be done to get it ready for a proper app launch.
It's been out for a week in the Google Play Store, and this is such big news. I know a lot of people are going to be so excited about this, because I think we kind of forget that when Microsoft said that they were ending its life, basically, lots of people were really concerned about this. And I remember when you came on last time, and it was back, it was resurrected. There was so much excitement because a lot of people rely on Soundscape, and now it's available on Android, like I said, for the first time. This is massive. This is great news.
Yeah, it's incredible, actually. The as I say, it only was released, I believe, on either Thursday night or Friday, and the word got out that it had gone in there. And literally over the weekend, we've had about just under 300 downloads of it. People are having a go, which is exactly what we want. So it's fantastic news. And I have to say, I hope it's okay to give a shout out to the team. There's a tiny team, a guy called Dave Craig, Adam Ward, who actually worked on reinstating the iOS app as well, Amira Fahem, Vani Dumay, and Tunde Ojalabi, who's been the project manager on this. They've literally been the ones that have beavered away on this to make it possible. So our thanks very much go to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's fair to say at this stage, I mean, you're saying it's in beta at this point. Although the app is out there, you're very much looking for feedback. This is an early edition of this app, right? And you're looking for people to feedback and comment. And I imagine with all those downloads, you're going to get a little bit of feedback.
Absolutely. A lot of it's actually, some of it's bugs, this bit doesn't work or I don't understand this. But it's also helping a team that was never involved in the development of the original app understand how and why the original app was developed the way that it was. So the team is sighted, so they don't really have any experience of working, and living with such platforms. So this kind of feedback is going to be really, really valuable to them to help them understand, what else needs to be tweaked, what else needs to be fixed. I mean, we are genuinely looking for all feedback, and if it's okay, I've got an email address for people to submit that feedback to when we're at the end of this interview. But also, we need some help with some other things as well. So if anybody is interested in helping us with translations for other countries, anybody who's fluent in any language, those translations will be hugely valuable. And we're also looking for people to join the closed beta team, which is where the improvements that come as a consequence of the open feedback will be released to certain people to test it before we actually release it out into the wild. So if anybody's interested in joining that closed beta team, then by all means get in touch. And also user guides. Again, sighted team, writing user guides for people who are not sighted or have visual impairment, I think is going to be really important to have some proper expertise in there to help us develop those user guides. So if anybody's interested in any of those things, this is very much an open source project, and anybody who wants to contribute and help us with it would be very welcome.
Oh, I'm sure you'll get so many volunteers for that. Absolutely. I'm interested. Is there any difference between the iOS version and the Android version? Was there any features or functionality that you weren't able to port across?
It's the initial release's ambition is for it to be as close an experience with the iOS version as possible. I think some features are slightly missing at the moment, but again, that's around the team's ability to understand why certain things were developed the way they were. And, that feedback is already, I mean, literally even over the weekend, some of the feedback that was coming in, the team were going, oh, right, and that makes sense now, right? That kind of stuff. And actually, it's not that they thought it had been badly developed. It's just it's that understanding, that experience of it. So I think that this kind of feedback, will be really valuable. The intention is to get it so it's as close to the iOS version as possible. Obviously, we want to do work on the iOS version as well. I'll tell you about the story about that in a minute. But certainly from the outset, the ambition has been to effectively reproduce the app in Android that was available to everybody on iOS.
I mean, let's talk about the iOS version in a minute, but I want to understand a little bit more about the business model here and how this works, how this is funded, because I think a lot, and we did talk about this before the last time you were on the show, but I think for new listeners who may not be aware of it, I think it's good to understand, and also for us to get an update, I sense, on where we're at with this, because there's always a concern in our community when something comes along that's open source. It's great and it's wonderful and we're so glad it's there, but is it sustainable? Can it be sustainable? And you've tried to build a model that is sustainable. Talk about that.
I haven't done a very good job with it, I'm afraid. Yes, so
that's not the answer we were looking for.
I know, I'm sorry.
It's honest answer though. Well done.
It is honest. I love that.
It's good to be. I want to be very upfront about it. When I spoke to you the last time, I wanted to put forward a proposal to the funding organisations, within the community, to say if you all contribute, then it's cheap for everybody. And our determination has always been that it is free at the point of use. So anybody who needs the app, who's got a phone, can download the app and use it for free, and they don't have to worry about paying for anything. The operating costs that sit around this on iOS have been quite expensive is the wrong word. The app could be better optimized so that it runs more cheaply. And the Android version has been developed to be just that. So it's running it as almost the cheapest possible way of doing this. And we are talking about, really quite small amounts of money, a couple of £1,000s a year to run the app kind of stuff, and obviously the more people that use it, the more expensive it gets, but it's tiny incremental, increases. And in essence, what we intend to do with the iOS app is to actually, re-optimize it. There is the underlying infrastructure of the way the Android app is built means that potentially we can actually re-engineer the iOS version to run as efficiently. We might not have to, but the idea is to kind of try and drive these costs down as much as possible. Now, everybody thinks that's a great idea and nobody wants to pay for it. So, which is kind of the usual kind of thing. But the costs are such at the moment that actually we have been sustaining those costs ourselves. But in the long term, that's obviously, not really a very practical solution. And also, as you say, it runs a risk there that I think would make people a little nervous. So because the Android version is now potentially coming on stream soon, I think the story around this is slightly different. So this is about an application that is available to anybody with a mobile phone, rather than just iOS users. So now it's much more accessible, genuinely. And it is my intention to go back out and put that argument out into the community again and say, you should be collectively supporting this. We have a Tech for Good repository here at the Scottish Tech Army, which doesn't just contain Soundscape. It contains other applications that we've developed through some of our initiatives that are reusable for other charities. So we're building tools where they're not available already for charities. And the idea is if we've built something, for example, for a visual impairment charity in Scotland, then we're going to offer it to any visual impairment charity anywhere else because it's now available to them. And we have the resource in our volunteer pool to actually implement that solution on, for that charity. Now, our costs are cheaper in this because it's volunteer labour that's being donated in essence to develop the app. And there's a lot of enthusiasm and a constant sort of refreshment of the oxygen into that bloodstream, if you like, because we get new volunteers coming in all the time. So then actually in terms of its longer term development, that's easy. It's our volunteer pool. But those underlying costs, we have to find a way to sustain them in the longer term. So I still believe that it's a collective thing. If you asked half a dozen organisations to make an annual contribution of really not very much, barely a rounding error for them, that actually it would sustain something that's available to the community at large.
It's a problem that so many other developers and companies have come across. We've been talking about sustainability of apps for a long time now.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is.
Can I ask, who are you, not specifics, I know you can't tell me specifics, but are we talking here charities you're looking to get involved here? Are you talking about business?
No, I'm talking about the charities that support people in their communities, because actually I think that's where the impetus and the desire to keep those applications running actually lives. It's they're dealing with the people who need these types of tools. And actually, when you talk to the larger charities, and when I'm talking about we're barely running to the thousands. You know what I mean? We're not talking, and Tech Army doesn't take anything for this. This is a volunteer initiative. So it's really literally the kind of the airtime, if you like, that we're looking to try to cover the costs of. Don't really want to look for corporate sponsorship for that, because corporate sponsorship has a kind of finite kind of element to it. And as soon as your corporate sponsorship for 3 years runs out, then you're scrambling. Somebody's got to go scrambling around trying to find
We
the
see
next
this
bit
all
of
the time.
corporate.
Yeah,
Exactly.
This is common.
So actually, if you can say to the funders and the really big charities that are supporting the community, I think some of the smaller charities as well, this is your this is a tool for your people. This is something that you can almost absorb as a core cost, if you like, because it's something that you're making available. It's just like your brochures that you print or your podcasts that you put out or whatever it is, actually saying that this is one of the things that you can sustain. And it doesn't set a precedent for masses and masses of pieces of technology. This was never intended to be a chargeable item. It was always expected to be free at the point of use. It's not like the haptic belts and the amazing kind of tools that are out there. And actually, there is so much fabulous technology available to the visually impaired world. But this is free, and this is the thing that gets me. This brings as many people as possible into an environment where they can have some form of independence and confidence in moving around. And it's not going to cost them anything more than they already have if they have a phone. So
it absolutely bamboozles me that this is not the easiest sell in the world. You should be pushing on an open door. This just is very surprising to me to hear that. And actually quite disheartening, actually. I mean, the amount of money you're talking about, collectively, if, 10 organizations around the UK put the money in, it would be barely noticeable to them.
I think
it seems
there's
obvious.
A couple of things. It does seem obvious, but there's an element of control and an element of responsibility. So I think what we need to do is to put the argument better around. You don't have to take responsibility for it yourselves. It's going to sit in our repo. We're going to make sure it stays up to date for the latest versions. We're going to commit to doing all of that. But I also then you're worrying about who gets to decide what's in the app. And the whole point about trying to not go to one organization and say fund the whole thing was because we didn't want to cede that control away from the community that's using it. We want to say, actually, you tell us as a community what you need. I think it's really interesting when we did quite a bit of user feedback on Soundscape for iOS after it launched, and we had lots of conversations with a really fantastic small group of people. And it was really interesting because part of the desire from that group was like an app that did absolutely everything. It didn't need any of the other apps that were out there. It was and it was going to be this enormous and bulky and sort of slightly complicated thing that had all these kind of ugly barnacles kind of added onto it because people wanted various different things. And in the end, what actually is needed is a simple, fabulous app like the iOS version is, now the Android version is becoming, that segues, if you like, from and to other applications with ease. And that's the next part of this evolution is there's other fantastic tools. As you move from a GPS environment to an internal environment, instead of having to close the app down and open another one, is how can we potentially connect the two together so that Soundscape just works out that it's not needed anymore and something opens up in its place. So there's some interesting and fun things that can be done around that. But that's the kind of thing where the understanding from the community what they need to happen. They might not necessarily understand technologically how that should happen, but we understand from them what it is they're looking for, which is a simplified way of moving around, a simplified way of moving between environments. And I think that's, for me, is it's so important. This is not consumer driven in terms of profit line. It's user driven in terms of need. And I think it's a really important distinction that needs to be made there. And that element of who decides, I think, is part of the challenge around a framework where you're asking lots of people to shell out some money and fund it. It's somebody saying, well, if I'm giving 50% of the money, does that mean that we have more control? Do we have a board to decide in the direction and everything? And I put my hand up and say, actually, half of these things, it didn't occur to me at the time, would be part of the conversation.
So irritating to hear, but yeah, I feel your pain, Kirsty, I really do.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a little bit about the feedback. I don't doubt you will, because look how far you've come so far.
Yeah.
Shaun, I'm sorry, I'm jumping in here with all the questions.
No,
but
you carry on.
I just want to ask this because, especially around feedback, because where are you getting that feedback right now? How are you gathering that? Where are you getting it from? Users coming to you, or have you got a connection into the community through an organization?
It's predominantly people telling us what they do and they don't like about the app that they have downloaded. So in terms of the iOS version. But that said, I mean, I'm the chair of Seascape, the faith-based visual impairment charity, and I have access to the wonderful Stuart Beveridge, who will tell us like it is every time, which is absolutely fantastic. And also with guide dogs as well. I mean, Tommy and the team at Guide Dogs have always been extremely supportive of what we were trying to do. You know, the rehabilitation, staff that are teaching people how to use these tools. You know, their feedback has been really valuable, and that would be the case again with the Android version as well. Is once they start, potentially trying to show people how to use it, their feedback on its usability will be crucial. So we have a lot of support, from that perspective. But I have to say, the community itself is never backward in coming forward when it comes across something that it thinks, is either a great idea. We get a lot of, this is fantastic, I'm so glad I found it, kind of communications, as well as this could be better, or I can't make this work. And then even as I say, just over the weekend, some of the feedback has been really informative to the team. Please don't ask me to explain it; it's way too technical for me. But I know that I know the team has already said that the feedback's been hugely valuable. So actually, at the moment, it's one of these really interesting things. I don't think. I hope Dave will forgive me for saying this, but I don't think they really appreciated just how amazing this is, the work that they've done and what they've produced. So I don't think they were quite expecting the level of enthusiasm that this was met with. I think they thought that they would slip this out quietly and nobody would notice. And of course, it's just like, the klaxons are going off everywhere and everybody's, but it's great. It's exactly what we need, is that rich feedback means that the app will be better in the end.
I was getting emails, or WhatsApp was getting messages over the weekend. Soundscape's here. It's on Android. Tell the world. And we're like, okay, great. What? Okay. That's fabulous. We will. So that was immediately why the first call I made, or first email I sent on Monday, was to you, because I thought we've got to connect and talk about this. I also want to give mention to the volunteers who are giving their time to do this, because this is something that I have to say is kind of unique and wonderful about what you do at the Scottish Tech Army. You have volunteers coming in, giving time on various projects, including this one. And I guess what's brilliant about this is that those volunteers who are, I'm guessing, wanting to go on or are already doing this as a full-time gig, or want to go on and make it their job, are learning so much about accessibility, which is crucial to app development going forward for everybody.
Absolutely. It's amazing, actually, the things we take for granted when we are sighted, and particularly when it comes to our assumptions around how we would navigate around a mobile phone. I think it's always really interesting that suddenly people suddenly realize, and even the request immediately around, we're going to need help with these user guides because they just can't apply the same logic. So, and they know it. So, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. But yes, I mean, accessibility first really is utterly crucial. And we try to apply that actually in all of the work that we do. I mean, the Scottish Tech Army is well over 4,000 volunteers registered now, which is an extraordinary number. We've worked with more than 400 organisations. Soundscape is an unusual thing for us. We don't normally do kind of app development things, and we don't go hunting around looking for dying apps. This one sort of came to us and fell into our lap, if you like. But we also have a corporate side of this, which is effectively sort of part of our own revenue stream that actually allows us the Tech Army to function at all. And it's called the Tech for Good Alliance, and it was through that PwC came to this project in the first instance. And since then, in the last couple of years, the amount of work that they've done has been absolutely extraordinary. And I always say to people that these people are the brightest and the best that are members of the Tech for Good Alliance, the volunteers that come through these corporates, and tapping into their expertise and their willingness to use it, I think is wonderful. It's a proper civil society story. It's how we should be as a community, as a civilization, or as a nation. And people like Dave Craig and Adam, and Tunde, they have they've just got on with it. They've just quietly self-managed. We've had, I mean, as I say, I was somewhat surprised to see that they released into beta last week because I hadn't kind of quite kept up to speed with just how far along they were. And I love that actually about the tech army, that they just got on with it and made it happen for themselves. And they're very professional in it. I can go in and have a look at whatever they've been doing. I got a fabulous report from Tunde, the project manager, about where they were at, where they were trying to get to, and what needed to happen next. And that's what's so lovely about this. It's like a business without any money. It's great.
Sounds a good business. I quite like the sound of that.
Well, it operates as professionally, I suppose, is what I mean. It operates the same way, and it was just as much willingness.
But it's got heart.
And I know that the volunteers, it is. But the volunteers, I know, get a lot out of this as well. This isn't just a one-way thing. I know that. I mean,
no, it's a
people like
win-win,
Dave
isn't
and
it?
Adam have taught themselves how to do a lot of this stuff. I mean, Adam Ward, who works on the iOS project, taught himself how to code it for Android because of this. And that's, everybody gets something from it, which is great.
Yeah, I'm sure lots of people are going to be so excited about this. I know people have been asking for the Android version since, the initial release from Microsoft. So, yeah, fantastic news.
Yeah, even I blew the dust off my Android phone just to download it. Can't wait to try it. It's going to be wonderful. And obviously, people can feedback. Now, you mentioned an email address for people to feedback to. So where should they direct their thoughts?
This is quite a long email address, but hopefully it will make sense. So the email address is soundscapeandroid@scottishtecharmy.support. So soundscapeandroid@scottishtecharmy.support. And anybody who wants to volunteer to support us in there, anybody who's got any feedback on the use of the app, if you just use that email address, and we'll pick it up from there. It is volunteer-driven help desk, by the way, so please don't expect, a turnaround in 5 minutes if you've got a question or a problem. So the team will come back to you as soon as they possibly can.
Yeah.
I can hear people already emailing away, writing those user guides. Come on, listeners, let's make it happen.
Yeah, well, look, it's a community approach. That's the whole thing, right? And I love that aspect of it. But we've got to get that funding sorted out. So, I think you'll hear many rants from me coming down the line on this topic. I think organizations need to get their hands in their pockets on this, quite frankly. And, it's not a huge amount of money. Some of these charities have got millions. I'm not saying available, but they have millions of pounds coming in. It can't all be going to help blind people. I mean, I worked for a charity for 15 years. I know there's a heck of a lot of admin costs. Maybe some of that could be apportioned, let's just say. Anyway, Kirsty, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Keep in touch. Let us know how this progresses.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted. It's not live for real yet, by the way, so I'll come back to you as soon as I have a date on that. But we haven't put a deadline on it. We'll let the guys do what they need to do, and then when it's ready, we'll come back and tell you.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot, Kirsty. Take care.
Thank you. Lovely to see you.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah, really great to have Kirsty back on with us. And, she's doing an amazing job there with the team and, allowing this app to flourish. And I think the business model of this is just brilliant. I just really want these organizations to get their hands in their pockets. The amount of money we're talking about here. I feel if we had a crowdfunder here at DoubleTap, we could do it ourselves.
Yeah, that's I was going to say slightly frustrating. It's really frustrating, right? We're not talking a huge amount when it comes to running costs. And as Kirsty mentioned there, they've done a lot of work with the Android version to lower those running costs. And you think, can no one, we're not asking one organization to cover the costs. A group of, we're talking minimal amounts needed. And it was still struggling to get funding. It blows my mind, I've got to say.
But it's not the money, it seems. It's the control and responsibility. And it doesn't sound like, because what Kirsty said there is, it's not that the control and responsibility is on the organization. In fact, it's the opposite. And
yeah, but that
it's
sounds
the organization
perfect.
who wants the control. That's the problem,
Yeah.
right? It's that they want to
Why?
have it with their name on it. And look, I think that's fair, right? If you're putting money into something, you should say, well, look,
yeah.
we're aligned with this. Hey, look, if I was paying for it, would I want DoubleTap emblazoned over it? Of
Yes.
course I
Would
would.
you?
But would I want any
DoubleTap.
control or responsibility? Absolutely not. Because have you seen this show? Could you imagine if we ran an app?
Well, look, you think about various sight loss organizations, how many of their own apps have stayed the course? I'm thinking of RNIB Navigator, for example. Is that still going? I mean, look,
No idea.
if there's an organization out there saying, look, we'll cover the maintenance and the ongoing coding, we'll take total control of this app. All we're looking for is funding for the running costs. I think that's perfect. You basically, you're a sleeping partner here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand it, I must say.
Well, it's an interesting story. I'm so glad it's there. Now, it isn't beta, as Kirsty was saying, so if you are going off to get it today, just be aware it is beta, so there will be things that might not be right yet or may not be working properly. So, you know, just let's not get too excited here. But your feedback is important. And if you've got something to say about it, then please do get in touch. We'll put that email address into our show notes so that you can go and respond to the team. And just be kind to them. They are all volunteers. They're all doing this. You know, for good, quite frankly. That's the job. Listen, before we go, just a quick mention to tomorrow's show. Big breaking news coming up tomorrow. Oh, yes.
Breaking news.
We're continuing a trend this week of big breaking news and a big story to come from Envision. They've been teasing along the way this week about a big announcement. Well, we're going to be bringing you that announcement on tomorrow's show. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Keep your feedback coming as well. And if you're subscribed to the newsletter, check your inbox because a new one's just arrived. So all that, of course, available via doubletaponair.com/subscribe. Until tomorrow, though, thank you for listening. Shaun, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.